For over 75 years, the cliffs of Qumran have guarded some of history's greatest secrets. This is the ancient, sun-baked landscape where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. These scrolls are not just old papers. They are a direct link to a time thousands of years ago. Discovered by a young shepherd in 1947, these fragile manuscripts contain the oldest known copies of the Hebrew Bible, along with other texts that revealed the beliefs and daily life of a mysterious community. This discovery changed our understanding of ancient history forever. It was a once-in-a-lifetime find that put this remote corner of the world on every explorer's map. The importance of the Dead Sea Scrolls cannot be overstated. They are a collection of nearly 1,000 different texts, found scattered across 11 caves carved into the limestone cliffs. For scholars and historians, these documents were like finding a hidden library that had been sealed for 2 millennia. They provided a window into the world of the Second Temple period, a time of great change and religious ferment. The scrolls gave us a clearer picture of the world that Jesus and his followers lived in. Because of this, Qumran became a legendary site, a place where history itself was written and then hidden away, waiting for us to find it. After the initial excitement of the discovery, teams of archaeologists descended upon Qumran. They spent decades combing through every cave, every crack, and every crevice in the surrounding cliffs. They mapped the area with meticulous detail, numbered the caves, and carefully cataloged every pottery shard and piece of linen they found. By the late 20th century, the general belief among the world's leading experts was that Qumran had given up all its secrets. The story, it seemed, was complete. The caves had been emptied, the scrolls had been studied, and the book on this incredible chapter of archaeology was closed. This belief that there was nothing left to find became the accepted truth. Older generations of archaeologists, who had dedicated their lives to studying the scrolls, felt confident that their work was done. They had used the best tools of their time to explore the site. They had crawled on their hands and knees into dark, dusty caves and painstakingly pieced together the fragments of the past. To them, the idea of another major discovery seemed impossible. The cliffs had been thoroughly searched, and the story of the Dead Sea Scrolls was now a matter for museums and history books, not for new expeditions. For many years, the field of archaeology accepted that Qumran was a closed case. The maps were drawn, the caves were numbered, and the major discoveries were all thought to be in the past. Established experts and senior researchers often advised younger scholars to look elsewhere for new finds. Qumran, they would say, had already been explored from top to bottom. The chance of finding another scroll, let alone an entire hidden chamber, was considered next to zero. This created a kind of barrier where new ideas and technologies were not always welcomed when it came to this famous site. The legends of the past were so big that they left little room for future possibilities. However, a new generation of researchers began to look at these old sites with fresh eyes. They were not bound by the conclusions of their predecessors. These younger explorers were armed with something their mentors never had: cutting-edge technology that could see the world in a completely different way. They understood that just because a cave was explored with a flashlight and a brush did not mean that everything had been found. What if something was hidden not inside a cave, but inside the rock itself? This question was the key that would unlock a brand new mystery. They dared to ask, what if we look again? This new way of thinking was driven by a healthy dose of skepticism and curiosity. The young teams looked at the old maps and saw not a completed puzzle, but a canvas with empty spaces. They knew that the explorers of the 1950s and 60s had done amazing work with the tools they had. But what secrets could lie just beyond the reach of those tools? What if a chamber had been sealed so perfectly that it was invisible to the naked eye? They believed that just because something hadn't been found didn't mean it wasn't there. It just meant that no one had looked for it in the right way yet. Their approach was to challenge the old assumptions. Instead of just re-examining the known caves, they decided to scan the very structure of the cliffs. They proposed using technology that was more common in engineering or geology, tools that could peer through solid stone. This idea was met with some resistance at first. Why spend time and money scanning an area that was considered fully explored? But the persistence of these new researchers paid off. They argued that the people who hid the scrolls were masters of concealment. Perhaps their greatest secret was one that was never meant to be found by simply walking into a cave. The first step in this new search was to get a completely new perspective on the cliffs. The team brought in advanced drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and sophisticated imaging systems. These were not just simple hobbyist drones. They were powerful tools that could fly dangerously close to the unstable cliff faces, capturing details that were impossible to see from the ground. They buzzed through the air like robotic hummingbirds, their cameras scanning every inch of the ancient limestone. This allowed the researchers to create a perfect, three-dimensional digital map of the entire Qumran area, far more detailed than any map ever made before. These eyes in the sky were just the beginning. The real breakthrough came from technology designed to see through solid objects. The team used a form of ground-penetrating radar, but instead of pointing it at the ground, they aimed it horizontally at the cliff walls. This equipment sent out harmless energy waves that traveled through the rock. When these waves hit something different, like an empty space, they would bounce back to a sensor. It was like a high-tech version of tapping on a wall to find a hollow spot. This technology could reveal hidden voids, tunnels, or chambers that were completely sealed off and invisible from the outside. The process was slow and methodical. The team moved their scanners along the cliff faces, section by section, taking readings and feeding the data into their computers. They focused on areas near the known caves, working on the theory that if something else was hidden, it would likely be close to the original discoveries. The sun beat down on them as they worked on narrow ledges, carefully maneuvering their expensive equipment. For days, the scans showed nothing but solid rock. The computers displayed dense, unchanging patterns, confirming what the old maps had shown. The cliffs appeared to be exactly what they seemed, a solid wall of stone. But the team didn't give up. They trusted their technology and their theory. They knew that earlier scans from the 1970s had missed things because the equipment back then was not sensitive enough. Their modern sensors were 100 times more powerful. They could detect subtle changes in density that older machines would have ignored completely. The researchers remained patient, continuing their meticulous work. They were looking for an anomaly, a single blip in the data that would tell them something unexpected was hidden just beneath the surface. And then finally they found it. The discovery did not come with a shout of excitement, but with a quiet moment of disbelief in front of a computer screen. As the scanner passed over the back wall of a known, well-explored cave, the data suddenly changed. A dark shape appeared on the monitor, a shape that was completely different from the solid rock around it. It was a void, an empty space hidden deep inside the cliff. The team checked their equipment, ran the scan again, and then a third time. The result was always the same. There was something in there, something that no one had ever seen before. The atmosphere in their small field tent became electric with tension and wonder. What made this discovery so stunning was the shape of the void. Natural caves and cavities in limestone are almost always irregular. They are formed by water erosion over thousands of years, resulting in jagged, uneven shapes. But the anomaly on the screen was different. It was a nearly perfect, symmetrical oval. This regularity was a clear sign that it was not a natural formation. It was artificial. Someone, long ago, had carved this chamber out of the solid rock with purpose and precision. The shape was so unusual that it did not match any known storage rooms or hiding places from that period. It was something entirely new. The scans revealed another crucial detail. The entrance to this hidden chamber had been deliberately and masterfully sealed. The builders had used a thick slab of limestone to block the opening, and over the centuries, mineral deposits and dust had fused it with the cliff face. It was sealed so perfectly that it had become a seamless part of the wall. This was not a simple rockfall or a collapsed entrance. This was intentional concealment of the highest order. Whoever created this chamber wanted it to remain hidden forever. The discovery of this sealed entrance explained why it had been missed for so long. The team was faced with a tantalizing puzzle. Here was a man-made chamber, perfectly oval and intentionally sealed, located right in the heart of the Dead Sea Scrolls site. Why was it built? What was it designed to protect? And why was it sealed with such care? The regular shape suggested it might have been a special place of worship, a tomb for a high-ranking leader, or a vault for the most sacred and important texts of all, scrolls that were perhaps too precious to be stored in the other caves. The anomaly in the stone was not just a discovery. It was the beginning of a profound mystery. As the team began to physically inspect the area around the hidden chamber, they found more clues that deepened the mystery. Near the spot where the scanners had located the anomaly, they discovered a narrow, crudely dug crawl space. It was little more than a tight tunnel, just big enough for a person to squeeze through, heading in the direction of the sealed chamber. The tunnel was uneven and looked like it had been dug in a hurry. It was clear that this was not part of the original design. This crawl space was evidence of a later attempt to break into the hidden room. Someone else, in the distant past, had known about this secret place. Scattered on the ground near the entrance to this rough tunnel were artifacts that told a story of failure. Archaeologists found broken pieces of pottery, the splintered handle of a tool, and most intriguingly, a single, bent Roman iron nail. These items were not from the original builders. They dated to a later period, likely during the Roman occupation of the area. The scene looked as if a group of people had been frantically trying to dig their way into the chamber when they were suddenly interrupted. They dropped their tools, broke their water jars, and fled, leaving everything behind. It was a frozen moment of ancient desperation. The presence of these artifacts suggests a dramatic and fearful event. Why did this ancient recovery team abandon their mission so abruptly? Were they discovered by Roman soldiers? Did the cliff become unstable, forcing them to retreat? Or did they encounter something that frightened them away? The single Roman nail is a particularly powerful clue. It connects this failed attempt directly to the time when the Roman army was sweeping through the region, destroying settlements and putting down rebellions. Perhaps the people trying to access the chamber were hiding from the very soldiers who were hunting them. This evidence of a failed ancient attempt to reach the chamber adds another layer of suspense to the discovery. It means that the modern expedition was not the first to try to get inside. It also suggests that whatever is in that chamber was considered important enough for people to risk their lives for it, even as an army approached. The abandoned tools and pottery shards are silent witnesses to a secret that has been kept for 2,000 years, not just by the original builders, but also by the failure of those who came after them. The chamber remained sealed, its contents untouched, waiting for a new attempt. With the location of the sealed chamber confirmed, the modern expedition faced its most difficult challenge, reaching it. The anomaly was located high up on a sheer cliff face, in a section of rock known for being dangerously unstable. The limestone in this area is soft and crumbly, and pieces could break away with the slightest touch. The team had to use ropes and climbing gear to carefully lower themselves down the cliff. Every movement had to be precise and deliberate. A single misplaced hand or foot could send a cascade of loose rock tumbling down, endangering everyone below. The descent was a nerve-wracking exercise in controlled risk. The ledge outside the sealed entrance was terrifyingly narrow. It was barely wide enough for one person to stand on at a time, with a dizzying drop of hundreds of feet to the canyon floor below. The team had to work in careful rotation, with each member secured by multiple safety lines. The air was thick with tension as they began the delicate task of investigating the stone wall. They couldn't use heavy tools or hammers, as the vibrations could fracture the fragile cliff and cause a catastrophic collapse. Instead, they had to use small brushes and dental picks to gently clear away centuries of accumulated dust and grime from the rock face. As they worked, the reality of their situation sank in. They were suspended between the sky and the earth, attempting to open a door that had been sealed for 2 millennia. The silence of the desert was broken only by the wind whistling through the canyons and the soft scrape of their brushes against the stone. Every member of the team was acutely aware of the historical significance of their task. They were on the verge of uncovering a secret that had eluded explorers for generations. The physical danger of the climb was matched only by the intense psychological pressure of knowing that the history of Qumran was about to be rewritten. The process of uncovering the sealed entrance was painstaking. Hours turned into days as the team carefully brushed away layer after layer of calcified dust. Slowly, the faint outline of the limestone slab used to seal the chamber began to emerge. It was exactly where the scanners had predicted it would be. Seeing the sealed entrance with their own eyes was a moment of triumph and awe. They had followed the digital breadcrumbs left by their technology and arrived at a place that had been lost to time. Now, the final and most anticipated question remained. What secrets were waiting for them on the other side? The discovery of this perfectly sealed, artificially shaped chamber completely changes what we thought we knew about Qumran. For decades, the site was viewed as a collection of simple storage caves for a community of scribes. But this new find suggests a much more complex and sophisticated plan. The sheer effort required to carve a symmetrical oval chamber deep into solid rock and then to seal it so flawlessly points to a level of importance far beyond simple storage. It forces us to ask new questions. Who had the knowledge and resources to build such a structure, and what did they place inside that was worth such extraordinary effort to protect? This find challenges the long-held assumption that Qumran has no more major secrets to reveal. It proves that even the most thoroughly explored archaeological sites can still hold profound surprises, especially when viewed through the lens of modern technology. The story of Qumran is not over. In fact, a brand new chapter has just begun. This chamber could contain anything. It might hold the lost library of the Qumran community, scrolls containing texts that we never knew existed. It could be the final resting place of a significant historical figure. Or it could hold something else entirely. Something so unexpected that it will reshape our understanding of this pivotal moment in history. The mystery of the failed ancient attempt to enter the chamber makes the discovery even more compelling. We now know that others were aware of this secret and tried to reclaim it during a time of great conflict and danger. Their failure ensured that the contents of the chamber remained undisturbed, a time capsule preserved not only by its original builders, but also by historical chance. What were they so desperately trying to retrieve? Were they the descendants of the builders, trying to save their legacy from the invading Roman army? The abandoned tools tell a story of haste and fear, adding a human drama to the archaeological puzzle. As the world waits for the team to find a safe way to open the chamber, we are reminded that the past is never truly settled. There are always more secrets buried beneath the dust, waiting for the right tools and the right questions to bring them to light. The cliffs of Qumran, which were once thought to be an open book, have shown us that there are still hidden pages. What other anomalies lie dormant within the rock, invisible to the naked eye but detectable to our new technological senses? The discovery of this single, silent chamber promises that the greatest secrets of the Dead Sea may still be waiting to be found.